Okay, so what we're going to do in this video is just look at some notation and how to interpret this when we look at some tables. Okay, so S is all the possible outcomes that exist. That's the entire sample space. The probability of A is the probability that event A occurs. The probability of not A is, remember we talked about in the last video, the complement. Okay, that's the probability that A does not occur, and we talked about how it's 1 minus the probability of A. The probability of A or B, or the probability of A union B, equals the probability that A or B, or both, can occur. And the probability of A and B, or A and the intersection of B, is the probability of both A and B occurring. All right, so we have a situation in which I want to find the probability of A. But in order to do that, we want to make sure first that we know how many people overall were in the sample. And it looks like we have 1,000 people that were in the sample total. Okay. Now we want to find out what the probability of A is. So in that case, we're trying to find out what is the probability that the person chosen in this sample is female. So how many females do we have overall? Looks like we have 580 females overall. So we're going to try to find the probability of females 580 over 1,000, which is the same thing as 58%. Okay, so the probability that it's female is 58%. And this next question then, it's asking what is the probability of B happening? And if you guys, in this situation, B is they participate in an after-school activity. All right. So what is the probability that they participate? Well, how many people participate overall? It's about 400. So 400 out of 1,000, or we're looking at like 40% chance that happens. Okay. All right, so what is the probability of not A happening? Or what is the probability that it's not a female? Ooh, not note, female, not female. Okay. So we're taking 1 minus the probability that it's a female. So it's going to be 1. And I think, what did we find the probability of female to be? I think we found it to be, what was it, 58%? Yes, we're going to do 1 minus 58.58. And that's just going to turn to be 0.42, or just 42%. And either way is totally fine for us to write it. Okay. So what is the probability that it's not B, or probability that they do not participate? Not participate. Okay. So it's going to be 1 minus the probability that they participate, or 1 minus 0.4, which is going to be 60%. All right, so let's look at this next scenario. In this case, we're trying to find out what is the probability that they are female or they participate. Okay, so we're looking at all the females. Okay, and then we are looking at all of the people who participate. Okay, so the probability of A plus the probability of B. Okay, so we found the probability that A was occurring was 58%, plus B, which we said was 40%. Okay. Now, is there anybody that falls into both A and B that is female and participating in after-school activities? And that happens 232 out of 1,000 times. So that's the probability of A and B. So we're going to subtract 232 out of 1,000. So we're taking 0.58 plus 0.4 minus 0.232. So we'll put in my handy dandy calculator, 0.58 plus 0.4 minus 0.232, and it turns out to be 74.8%. Okay. All right, let's look at another scenario here. What is the probability that A and B occurs? And I think we already found that. The probability that they are female and also that they participate. What is the probability that they both happen? That's going to be 232 out of 1,000, which is 23.2%. You guys plug it in your calculator. Okay. Now, you're going to have another set of questions in which you're going to try in a second, but I just kind of want to walk through this a little bit. This is a little bit different because we just don't know what the total values are. We always want to identify what the totals are. So like if I take 63 plus 251, you get 314, okay? So if I take 78 plus 175, you get 253. 14 plus 64 is 78. 10 plus 8 is 18. And then we're going to do the same thing on the top, guys. We're going to take 63 plus 78 plus 14 plus 10, and that gets us 165. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. 251 plus 175 plus 64 plus 8 gets me 498. Okay? All right, so when we do this, we have 165, 498, which equals 663 when I add those together. 314 plus 253 plus 78 plus 18 also equals 263, so we are good with that. All right, so we're asked to find the probability that they are found in the United States and it is a bird. So we're looking at United States. And they are a bird. So what is the probability that both those outcomes happen? So how many birds are also from the United States? And it looks like that's 78. So 78 out of 663 is the probability. 78 divided by 663 is basically 11.7%. Okay? Let's look at another scenario. All right, what is the probability that they are foreign or a mammal? All right, so we're trying to find the probability that they are foreign or a mammal. All right, so let's look at foreign. These are all of our foreign animals that are endangered. And then these are all the mammals that are endangered. All right, so we're going to take the probability that they are foreign plus the probability that they're male minus the probability of those that count in both categories. Okay, so how many foreign animals do we have? 498 out of 663. How many mammals do we have? That's 314 out of 663. And then we're subtracting the intersection, which is 251 out of 663. All right, so 498 plus 314 minus 251 gets me 561 out of 663. And that turns out to be basically 84.6%. That is the probability that that event occurs. Okay. All right. So in this case, what is the probability that they are warm-blooded? All right. So I got to think about what is a warm-blooded creature? And those are birds and mammals. So what is the probability that they are birds or mammals? Okay. Those are all the ones that fall into that category. So we're looking at both of this right here. So we're taking 314, and I should have wrote down or there. But these are mutually exclusive because I can't have an animal that's a mammal and a bird at exactly the same time. So we're taking 314 plus 253 over 663. And that turns out to be 314 plus 253 is 567 over 663. That turns out to be 85.5%. Okay. I'm asking you guys to try this next one. Just big thing here is with this next one, make sure you find the totals for it, and I will talk to you later.